What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and today is a bittersweet episode because we're kind of wrapping things up for this year. 2023 is almost over, and I feel like it's just begun. So while it's kind of exciting, New Year's coming, the holidays are here, you're also struck with the realization that, time is moving faster and faster, and you can't really get a grip of it, and you're getting older, and you kind of want to spend more time with your parents while they're still around. Let's look at some watches. It is 10:19 a.m. Let's get down to business. So today we're going to be looking at the best sports watches of 2023, and this is just from one guy's opinion. So there were a bunch of watches that were released and a bunch of sports watches specifically, so if I've missed one or you disagree with one on the list, leave a comment and let me know. First up, a watch I did not expect from Hermes. That's right, we're looking at the Hermes H8 mono pusher chronograph. Now, when you're thinking of Hermes, you're thinking of very high-end, expensive leather goods and luxury accessories, but they ventured into the watch world and they've actually done a very good job. I reviewed an Hermes watch and was thoroughly impressed, and this sports watch has incredible specs. Now, this is a mono pusher chronograph, which is already incredibly impressive for those watchmakers out there. Apparently, mono pusher chronographs are much more difficult to manufacture than a standard dual push chronograph. This is a PVD coated watch, 100 meter water resistance rating, great contrast. I love the textured registers and center dial versus that kind of matte slate tone. The thing is, this would be perfect without that offset date window. That offset date window does kind of ruin it, but it still deserves to be on the list of the best sports watches for 2023. Moving on. A watch that really needs no introduction at all, the Omega Ploprof 75th anniversary with the monoblock case. This is a watch that is a controversial pick for some because they will immediately say, well, that's not a watch you could ever wear. You could never actually wear that watch. That's just a hockey puck on the wrist. And while you might be right, it is the ultimate statement wrist presence FU piece. There's no dude, I don't care if you have a Yachtmaster 2. I don't care if it's solid gold. If I show up with a Ploprof, your little Yachtmaster 2 can go f*** itself. Next up, another heavy hitter when we're looking at dive watches, and not a heavy hitter because of its name or provenance or cachet, just simply because it's crazy overbuilt and really impressive. The Olympus Aquis Pro 4000 meter. Now, when I saw this, I was like, wow, cool, Oris made a tuna. This is like the Oris tuna, just with way crazy overbuilt specs. Love that wave pattern dial. I love the Aquis. The only thing that has stopped me from purchasing any Aquis variant is the stupid integrated bracelet, strap design. I don't like it. I don't like it because it uses a proprietary strap. So I like changing the bracelets, the straps, whatever on my watches. And for this to have just a proprietary system, it just makes it kind of disappointing. If it weren't for that, the Aquis series would be one of my favorite dive watches of all time. But let's just take a look at some of the case measurements here. This is 49.5 millimeter in diameter, 23.4 millimeters thick, and 55 millimeter lug to lug. Now, the saving grace of this watch is that it is titanium, so it's not going to feel like a huge hunk of steel on the wrist. 4,000 meter water resistance rating is just insane. So this is like an overbuilt, crazy ass watch, and I love it. Easily one of the best sports watches of 2023. Next up, a watch that my good friend Rob from Exo Oppo actually just purchased. He got the white dial version, the Hamilton Khaki Field Expedition. This kind of answers all the gripes that watch enthusiasts have had with the Hamilton Khaki series, where it's like, okay, you want us to believe this is a legit rough and tumble field watch, but it fogs up anytime the humidity gets a little high. So, dude, if it's raining or if you get it wet, it's definitely going to turn into a steam room in there, and you can just look up on the forums. Pretty much everyone has had issues with case fogging on their Hamilton Khakis. So this actually gave it a compass bezel, which was an interesting interesting choice, excuse me. And it does have a threaded crown. Very impressive. Definitely falls into the sportier watch category, although this is technically a field watch, but you know, I'll put it on this list. And if I make a field watch list for the end of the year, it'll be on that list too, but very impressive. And, I think that it's nice that they answered our gripes. However, I still would prefer them to give us a proper Hamilton Khaki field watch without a bezel and just put a threaded crown on it. It's as simple as that. But this is still one of the better sports watches of 2023. Moving on, Longines. Okay, I gave Longines some crap for doing a stupid exclusive with Hodinkee, but this Spirit Flyback Chronograph in titanium is awesome, dude. Longines has been crushing it lately, and these titanium chronographs, very, very sporty, really cool, very nice contrast, incredible dynamic dial using mostly dark tones for the examples that we have here. Still great visibility, really, really impressive presentation. Good job, Longines. Next, a watch you guys may have never heard of, but it's actually a reissue. The Aquastar Benthos Diver. Very, very vintage, cushion case. Love the offset crown, high contrast. Love the faux patination. Some people will hate it, but I'm a vintage freak, and this watch is just awesome with that kind of iso frame strap. It's just really, really cool. And dude, if you want vintage goodness but modern built confidence, this Aquastar Benthos is crazy. 42 millimeters, 16 millimeters thick, has a 47 millimeter lug to lug, 904L stainless. So that's like, I guess, Rolex's claim to fame. We don't use 316L, we use the nice stuff. 500 meter water resistance rating, and a proper iso frame rubber strap. Next up, a watch that's in my personal collection, a watch that is near and dear to my heart. I've made many memories with it, taking it to Hawaii very, very recently, actually. My Doxa Sub 200 Seagraph 2. This is like one of the best divers chronographs I've ever personally got to take a look at, and I love it so much I added one to my collection. Dude, the blue variant is the one to get, in my opinion. I already forgot which one it's called. It's the Caribbean. I got the Sub 200 Seagraph 2 Caribbean. And this is not an inexpensive watch. So when I reviewed it, some people wanted it to be like in the Microbrand Monday territory of like sub 1,000. This is just under 3,000, but the specs, the presentation, the wearability, it's incredible. If you want to see the review, I will link it in the corner, so you can go ahead and check it out. But it is just a really splendid watch to wear, not cumbersome, really, really visible and legible, I should say. Great lume, surprisingly, and it's just a proper dive watch with a chronograph complication. And, you know, if you want a proper diver, can you really do better than Doxa? Next up, when we're talking about the best sports watches for 2023, I have to add Laurent Ferrier and their Sport Auto. This is a watch that, follows the archetype, of integrated bracelets and blue dials, but they do it very well. It's a different kind of presentation than we're normally used to. Doesn't have as much of an industrial look, and it is just gorgeous with that kind of fume gradient blue. It does have a crosshair dial, has a very interesting kind of like forked border on that date window. And one thing that I found very interesting with this watch is that the date window is really pushed all the way to the Rio, like all the way to the edge of the dial, which is not something you typically see. You usually see the date window a little bit closer in, but I really like it. I think this is cool, very, very sporty, and it gives, the AP Royal Oak, the Nautilus, even the Overseas, it gives them a run for its money because this is something that is much more uncommon, much more interesting in my opinion. You don't see it every day. You don't hear people talk about it, but Laurent Ferrier is definitely an underrated, very high-end luxury watchmaker that I think more of us should be paying attention to. Now moving down a few tax brackets, the Boliva Oceanographer GMT. I typically don't like lume dials, but when they released this lume dial GMT, I was very impressed. And again, for around $1,300, this is a proper kind of retro reissue, cushion case oceanographer. You are getting that automatic movement and a GMT complication with that 666 water resistance rating. That is 666 feet. Devil Diver. And finally, I couldn't wrap this episode up without adding a GShock to the list. The new Mudman was really exciting because these kind of are exactly what I want when I'm looking for a tough, rugged, extreme GShock. I'm kind of sick of GShock moving in the analog direction. I like this big digital dial. I'm kind of a stupid caveman knucklehead, so when I'm out and about and I'm wearing a GShock, I'm like, ooh, need digital. I want digital. Me no read analog time. And these new Mudman GW9500 triple sensor, it's kind of like my Mudmaster, but all digital. It's really, really cool. I will probably either get that olive drab one or the red one. Definitely going to buy one. Don't know which one I want yet, but has to be on the list. Does everything pretty much my Mudmaster does. It's a triple sensor. And the retail is $400, so it's released much less expensive than even my triple sensor Mudmaster was. So that's awesome. So there you have it. I think we went over 10 watches, but either way, these are the best sporty watches that I've seen this year. If I've missed one, or you would like to add one to the list, or you don't agree with one I mentioned here today, let me know in the comment section. We can argue there. All right, I will catch you on the next one. Guys, I want to thank you so much for supporting my girlfriend's brand new channel, Bunny Bear Life. You can go ahead and subscribe. I'll leave a link in the description below, but this is her first foray into like social media, and I think she did a really good job, and the channel's only going to get better from there. So thank you so much for all the support on everything we do here at the Time Teller Productions, and I will catch you on the next one. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.